Morning, everybody. I think today's brought to you by the letter B, as in beans. I was just out doing a little bean picking. I'm a lot like a lot of people when I watch YouTube, and especially the gardening channels on YouTube. I have certain times a day that I have set aside to watch those, and usually in the mornings with my cup of coffee and a piece of toast or something like that, I'm watching the garden channel. So I thought I should do a bit of an update to show you how my garden's coming along. I never did an update since a hurricane, and the hurricane did give us an awful whooping in places. I had to put a few stakes in some apple trees and different things like that, but the garden since then, we've had 5 or 6 weeks of 30-some hot, wet, muggy weather. I mean muggy as in 96-98% humidity, but good sunshine inland. If you live along the coast of Nova Scotia, you were experiencing quite a bit of fog. But we had sunshine inland, and boy, didn't the garden take off. I'll take you a quick run around. In here's where I had my peas growing. And they're all done now. I cut the peas off and I transplanted some strawberry plants over into that area, because you'll see in a second my strawberry bed has gotten buried. It got taken over by that little purple weed called Creeping Charlie, and so I buried Creeping Charlie. We'll take care of him. The onions, boys, Brendan, my onions aren't as big as yours, but I'm dead surprised with how well they grew. You can see some are still growing, some are starting to topple over, so it's starting to show that the end of the patch is near, but they still got some growth left on them, and there's some decent onions in there. But it'll be another couple of weeks probably before I pull them. Cauliflowers coming great. You see I have some heads of cauliflowers starting to show down in there. Some nice cauliflowers. I've learned, I haven't grew cauliflowers much, but what I did learn last year is when your cauliflower heads are starting to come up, watch them close. If you see the barest bit of those starting to go off, cut them. Don't leave them and think that you're going to get bigger, because they're not. They're just going to get brown and worse. So that's one thing I learned about the cauliflower. When it starts heading up, watch it every day. A little bit of dill sprouting up between the kale. Kale, we've picked kale off there for a number of different things, and man, what a growing, this is red Russian kale, and what a growing thing that is. Had little lettuces over here, just put a few little radishes in to make up leftovers. Have some lettuces there that we're still eating out of, but pretty much the patch has gone south. I've been doing great with lettuces this year. I had some gaps in my lettuce growing last year, so one of my goals was not to have as many lettuce gaps, and I didn't have as many lettuce gaps. We've never been out of lettuce once. I harvested my first lettuce in June, and there's never been a time we've been out of them yet, so that's great. Hopefully these will last us until my next ones start coming on. This is my cucumber bed. I had trouble last year with some type of a fly and the cucumber beetle killing some leaves like that one, but not much trouble this year. It seems like they're doing really good. I've already harvested 4 or 5 baskets of cucumbers here. I planted this bed in 2 different stages. The one to the left I planted 3 weeks later than the bed to the right, and I don't think there's going to be a week's difference in the harvest of them. Isn't that funny? You can see the bumblebees, they just love pumpkins, zucchinis, cucumbers, anything in that family. The bee just seems to love the flower. Asparagus, looking a little ragged, but I haven't had any of my asparagus yet, but we will before too long. Potatoes. Potatoes, been a fantastic year for them. Knock on wood, there's no blight showing yet, which we can be prone to blight. And we say if we're going to get it, this is the month where it's going to show. But we had a lot of rain this year, so a great batch of potatoes. There's my main bed of potatoes down there. I got into it. It was a bit of wet weather, so I got into a bit of boon of old spoiled hay, and I brought home more truckloads of old hay than what I know what to do with. But this is going to be, I'm going to expand the garlic growing a little bit. I grew 220 last year. I'm going to try for 300, maybe 350 this year. I don't know how big I'm going to grow it. I thought I was going to cap it at 200, but you know us growing people. We sometimes get carried away with a bunch of foolishness. Anyway, the potatoes, this is the main crop. These are mostly all red chieftains. We had a hodgepodge or two already, fresh garden hodgepodge, no meat in our hodgepodge, just new baby carrots, peas, beans, all that sort of stuff, and that was delicious. So I had dug some new potatoes out. A quick shot of the orchard. I have everything mowed up back here now, and well, for a little orchard that I started 2 or 3 years ago, it's starting to look like an orchard. I have yet to harvest an apple, but patience, 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 especially when it comes to, well, anything in gardening, but especially in fruit tree growing. But they get some nice shapes to them. Some of them are ugly as sin. Some of them we're just going to go on the hope that it's going to turn into a tree, but some of them are starting to actually look like trees. That always gets me excited for the future. Now, don't get you too dizzy here. Oh, quick one. Growing weird stuff. This here, not weird stuff. These are tomatoes. These are Mountain Merit. Supposed to be quite a blight resistant, early, late blight resistant. I have no idea what the tomato looks like, but they are a good producer by the looks of it. There's all kinds of tomatoes in there hanging. I've yet to see a ripe one, but that's okay. And this is something just totally strange. Weed growing in the middle of it. But these are peanuts. I don't know if you can see, but right down in here there's a little yellow flower. And from what I've been reading, the peanut flower flowers way down low. Once the flower is done blooming, it sends a little shoot down into the ground, and then the peanut grows on the end of that shoot, much like a potato, but it actually flowers above ground. So kind of a strange thing. I'll take you up. This here is strawberry bed, and you can see when I mean buried in hay, I buried it in hay. I dare you weed to come up through that. Pole beans. You can see it's, talk about bees loving stuff. Bees and the hummers. Speaking of little devil, she's chirping at me now. Don't they love the scarlet runners? If I can get a picture, oh, those hummers are so quick. You can't get a picture of the hummers. Anyway, they're here buzzing all around me. We keep feeders, so they get pretty used to people. But in amongst these, I started growing a yellow pole bean called a Monte Gusto. That's what it is. And it's actually a really nice yellow bean. You can see it's a very long, slender bean. Fantastic flavor. That was a new for this year, so hopefully I'm going to show you a better one. Here's some down here at the bottom. Yeah, Mr. Bumblebee. I'm not bothering you. You can see these. And they're long, slender, what? I don't know. Must be 8-10 inches long. Fantastic tasting little bean. They're supposed to provide all along, so I might be growing them again next year. I was kind of happy with the way the flavor of them. Really nice flavor. Oh, started. I had some lettuces in sets. This here's where my garlic patch was. So I took my garlic out. Sorry for the wind, guys. It's a gusty day. There's supposed to be a bit of rain coming in tonight. Rain's definitely been the weather for this summer. But if you can see the little lettuces, I have all kinds planted in there. Romaines, head lettuces, icebergs. I have four rows of lettuces. Put them out to sets, and we had a little rain the other night. They took off. Here's my trial of my fall peas. You can see there's a fall pea. They're germinating up through. I only did one row. Truth be told, I would have done 2 or 3 rows as a test, but it was all the peas I had left in the baggage, and I didn't bother going buying any more. So it'll be a good little short row. I won't get in many peas off it, but it'll be a test to see if it is actually going to work. I've just planted those 4 or 5 days ago, and we'll see if I actually get a pea on there before they all freeze rock solid. Carrots are growing nice, beautiful tops. Parsnips, got some beautiful tops. I went through and thinned the parsnips out and spaced them nice, and they really took off after I thinned them. So excited about that. Red onions are just starting to fall over, but I think there's some nice sized bulbs of red onions in there. And you can see there's some of them are still standing up, so there's still some growth left in them yet. And Mother Nature always has a way of keeping you a bit on the humble side of town. So I was really proud of my corn this year. Probably the nicest corn patch I ever grew. And you know what they say, I don't know if it's in the Bible or if it's just a saying or what it is, but pride comes before a fall. So right on that one. I was proud of my corn, and there was a funny gust of wind, a bit of a windstorm, come up with some rain the other day and blew the center right out of my corn. You can see it laying down through there, broke some off. I'm not going to really do anything about it. I tried to stand a few up, and all I did was break them off. I split them up, so I'm just going to leave them alone, and we're going to harvest whatever we can harvest out of it. It's nice and tall, 6 feet. Yeah, it's good 6 feet. Tassels just starting to tassel out. And you can see here, I got some tassels just starting to form. So we'll get some corn out of there. Like I say, Mother Nature always has a fantastic way of keeping a person humble. And I think us as gardeners probably learn that quicker than some people. And at the same time as keeping us humble, and she did an awful lot of damage to my corn, at the same time she's still going to provide pretty decent corn out of there. Oh well. Kohlrabi is something I never grew before. I mainly grew it because I loved the sound of the name, Kohlrabi. It just kind of rolls off the tongue in on a nice sound. But I see some of them have a tendency to split. I don't know if that's a common thing or not, or if it's just because of the rain this summer. Well, I said this was going to be a quick tour of the garden. It's already getting long-winded, so that's a quick tour of the garden. Row of beets here that we're going to pull and put into beets. Oh, lately we're just starting into pickle time. We have mustard pickles in. We're making dill beans today, and we will be doing a sliced dill pickle today. So just starting to pickling, always a fun time of the year. Sometimes your girlfriend gets a little depressed because it reminds you that fall is coming, but I tend not to worry about the seasons till they get here. Anyway, have a great one. Hope this wasn't too jumpy and shaky, as usually most of my videos are. Enjoy the day wherever you may be.